Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Microsoft. Watch that, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This sim has been around for the better part of a few months now. Obviously the release date, 2024, I want to say it was November something of 24. And nothing short of a early access plus release. A lot of stuff wasn't ready, a lot of stuff still isn't ready. But it's been several months, and I think we're to the point now where we need to start evaluating this sim as a full game, and that's what we're going to do today with helicopters. Specifically, the inbuilt helicopters as well as a few extra ones. You can see I've got a pair of Cowan Sim MD500s, and we'll look at a couple of Cowan Sim rotorcraft, excuse me, as well as there's stuff from Miltech Simulations as well. Thinking the FS2024. But the core stuff is going to be looking at the inbuilt helicopters. We've obviously got the Gumball. I always botch the name. I think it's Calibri G2. We're just going to call it the G2 for the rest of this. And we'll look at the H125, formerly the AS350, as well as the H225, CH47. I think we'll leave the Bell because it's just a port over from FS2020. So, without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so we're not going to be doing the full-on review style that I normally do with these aircraft, rotorcraft in this case. Just a quick look overall at textures, and the G2 doesn't really have a lot to show, but what it does show looks fine to me. My crouch key isn't working. How lovely. How awesome. There we go. Just force myself to crouch. Engine bay looks good. Looks like there is a little bit of clickability there. I can undo that latch. Is there a bottom latch? There is a bottom latch. Can I undo the bottom latch? I saw it. And I saw it. There we go. Nice little Lycoming 4-cylinder in there, horizontally opposed. Is that a Champion air filter? Or air filter? Oil filter? No, it isn't. Aerospace. I was going to say aero shell. Nice little cap for the 15-weight-50 oil. You can see we got right in the middle there quantities of oil on the dipstick. So we're good there. Exhausting out of the top, interestingly enough. I would assume this would, follow in the realms of the R22, it would be a lot easier to just make a exhaust that blows out this way, but each their own. I didn't tell you to close. Concord battery on the left side. Little 5-amp breaker there as well. This looks like your standard lead-acid aircraft battery. Very good textures on that. Overall, just good textures on this rotorcraft. Fuel filler cap there. So, credit where credit is due. Tail rotor looks adequate. I think it's good enough for what we're doing here. Like the text on the data tag there. Before I forget, let's just do that real quick. Main rotor head, again, looks fine from what I can see here. A little bit of extra detail added in there. Swash plate and the hydraulic dampeners all look good. So, hopping inside, quick look around the interior. I think everything looks adequate for this sim. A little bit of funny business on the headliner texture, but that's fine. We can let that go. Little cubby storage area behind us. Fuel selector there. That's about it. So I'm going to go ahead get the old girl started up here and check back with you. Then I guess we'll do a quick soundscape suite. Stand by. Good sounds on the G2 as well. I'm gonna run through the startup, and I guess let's keep going with the themes of integration. I want to see how good the auto start sequence is for those of us who don't know how to start this rotorcraft, like me. Let's do that. It's a relatively simple aircraft to start. Nav light should have come on. So should the beacon. Love the added detail of the, what you call this, an EVIS display? A little bit of clutch squeal. And there's rotor RPM in the green. You can see our little light there. Should be to fly. One thing I did notice, and this is the case on a couple of the inbuilt rotorcraft, is if you go to automatically set your altimeter, watch my rollers here and watch my altitude setting. They all just go as low as the altimeter can go. So that's going to need some tweaking. Sobo, I know you're watching. It's a whopping channel with 1.1 thousand subscribers. Quick little outside sound check. Pay attention when I sweep across the rear of the rotorcraft. Can you hear the tail rotor? So right now this is main rotor sound. I can't quite hear it. Let's hop outside, not cut our heads off. So we've got main rotor. And there's a little bit of a whine from the tail rotor, but not really the sound I would expect to hear. In the left channel now, main rotor and the right tail rotor, and switching in the right channel now, tail rotor, and in the left main rotor. Look at the sparkle on the paint there. That looks great. Good nav light looking there. All right, enough funny business. Let's go for a quick flight around St. Mary's Isle. Good. I like the fact you have to put in a little bit of anti-torque to get the craft airborne. Very gentle winds today. As far as maneuverability, it was pretty good. What I would expect a light rotorcraft to do. Go for a hard stoppage here. A lot of MD500 spawning. That's a crash. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, I didn't do the part where I say, oh yeah, this is where I suck at flying helicopters. I suck at flying helicopters. Let's try that again. Let's actually try a high bank 180 degree turn. Ready? It's not bad there. Then we'll try for that aggressive stoppage again. My parking spot has been taken. So gained a little bit of altitude, but other than that, pretty good. That's probably lack of my piloted skills more so than anything to do with the craft here. Direction we were facing. I think it was this way when we took off. Oh god, abort, abort, abort. I guess we'll just turn to face the same direction as these MD500s. Alright, that is the G2. Let's move on to our next rotorcraft. Okay, and moving from a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder to a vertically mounted, horizontally opposed 6-cylinder. See, I'm not lying. Look, there's the cylinders, 3 over here and then 3 over there. Is the Bell 47. From 3 rotors down to 2. I've actually never flown this rotorcraft in the sim. It's not that it's disinteresting, it's just there's other things that I prefer to do. Went with the floats option. Obviously, we've got some water over there. We're not at the Isles of Skilling or St. Mary's. We're still right on the westmost coast of the English countryside. And this is a FS2020 port. But I will say, for being a port, it looks pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. Again, we can't open any doors or anything, but we can just kind of walk through the rotorcraft and see even more detail than before. There's no crouch zones or anything. I can walk right up into the cockpit. Look at that. How about that, huh? You like that? Shaky. So, overall, I think it's good. Let's get a quick look at the main rotor as well. Extremely, at least what I would think, of a very narrow shaft for the length of these blades. They're not very thick blades, but they're long for that narrow of a shaft. But hey, Bell made it work back then. We can certainly make it work today. Let's hop inside. We'll get that sound profile real quick. And not a whole lot. Switches sound good. That's about it. Let's check the auto start sequence. Not too bad. I will say that the rate at which that main rotor sped up, and we're actually above our green arc with the main rotor, so hopefully that fixes itself. The way that main rotor sped up, I would imagine that the rotorcraft is going to... I guess no, you wouldn't really need to spin it slow for a while, because it's a reciprocating engine. It doesn't need to warm the same way a turbine would. Little tiny EFB here as well. Got the map there, but nowadays you can just use the tablet should you so choose. But at the time, this was probably pretty nice to have. Rotor governor, let's set that to automatic. Classic cockpit. What is the classic cockpit? Ah, it gets rid of those. I like that. Okay, I'm with this. We've got some options: rain cover, stairs. I didn't even do that. Oh, dude. Windshield data mark. Yes, please. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I was hoping that would be like a little flag. Although, you know what? With how we're... Yeah, okay. We'll do that. Might be the floats that are blocking out the stairs. That's fine. Oh yeah, it didn't even let me put them on. So, we'll have to probably shut down. Let's do a check on the auto set of the altimeter. Same problem as before. Spin straight to 0. Now... I wonder, can this go below? Yeah, okay. Looks like there's a couple of rotorcraft. Now, I wonder if that has to do with the... sim, or if it is rotorcraft exclusively. Not sure. Let's get a quick sound check from outside. Admittedly, not sounding that great from outside. No separate sound at all from the tail rotor. But when we go in the external view, it sounds way better. Chalk that up to maybe headphone simulation. This rotorcraft, I'm going to keep saying aircraft, I'm sorry, suffers from the same flight sim issues with lighting, looking poor during the day. You know, now we're not going to do this for every single aircraft. That's fine. Alright, let's get a quick takeoff in here, see how she handles. A little bit of anti-torque in. Floaty. Floaty. I get a little bit slower to respond than the G2, and I would expect that. I've only got 2 rotors. And it's older tech as well. Oh my gosh, what happened? I just had the worst... I think that was supposed to be advancing blades. Guys. Oh. Does the auto governor not work? I'm going to keep an eye on my rotor speed. The wind's certainly not doing me any favors, but no, look, it's keeping it pretty well balanced right there. Let's turn it into the winds. Manifold pressure. Where's my airspeed? There it is. 50 knots. So I've got tons of manifold overhead left. Strange. Initial, you can see this doesn't hold quite as, true with the same inputs. I have to adjust my flying to kind of, not have any PIO, pilot-induced oscillation. But handles pretty good, sounds even better. Let's try for a water landing here. Let's get turned into the winds. Let's start. Fairly aggressive descent here. We're wafting. We're wafting. So we do have the float zones. We are actually going to touch down in the water today and see how that goes. Thoroughly in ground effect now. Let's keep coming down. Have to be like on the surface almost. Oh my god, look at how much more altitude. That low cut canopy really throws me out there. There's touch and off power. Now we're just free floating in the water. Interesting, you can see the flight sim center of lift point is aft and left of where our actual main rotor is. Now, maybe that's where the central vortex would be, but you wouldn't see this here just because of the body of the rotorcraft. But bobbing in the water a little bit. Let's get taken back off here. Head back. Hit our 180-degree aggressive turn. And then we will try for an aggressive stoppage as well before we set the rotorcraft back down. Let's use some of that extra manifold pressure. Get us up over this ridge here. I believe the airport was just off to the left. Actually, maybe that's it straight on. It is. Right, 180-degree turn first. Sighted stoppage. Any direct crosswind. Ready. 3, 2, 1, coming left. Now, there's a reason I choose left turns primarily for my aggressive turn. That's because the advancing blade will be on the right side of the helicopter. That's what's going to give me the best chance at aggressively banking over. If I tried that with the retreating blade, it probably could still do it, just not quite as well. Our parking spot has been taken by, I don't remember if we were at 2 or 3, either a PC-12 or what is that, a MAL M7 or a Cub. Can't tell from here. It's a Cub. The MAL has more angular horizontal stabilizers. Probably way too high again. I gotta... If I had more stick time with this rotorcraft, I could definitely compensate for that really odd, shouldn't call it odd, but just that super offset low spot. Not really in the parking spot yet. Quite some get your ugly tax. Oh, and then the airplane goes away. Anyway, moving on to the next rotorcraft. All right, continuing our ported aircraft. I know I said I'd skip it, but I feel obligated to include the Bell 407, the updated version of the 206 Jet Ranger. Newer power plant, 4 rotor head instead of 2, and it likes to windmill when the power's off, so you have to break. And it doesn't stay, so it's going to start spinning again. There it goes. Nonetheless, let's do a quick look at textures. Again, it's a ported aircraft, so it's going to look R-O-U-G-H, Rugh. That's how you pronounce it. Obviously, there's no openable panels, anything like that. I cannot phase through it like I could the 47. And, I don't know, it doesn't look quite as good as the 47 in my opinion, but nonetheless. Let's go ahead and check the auto start sequence. Let's hit that because I'm going to lose my mind if I don't. Quick control sweep while we're starting. So there's good sound effects there, like that. Check the altimeter. Does the same thing. How unfortunate. And the auto start sequence does not work on the 406. So we do have, you have to launch it live, which sucks, but what do you do? Okay. Let's, looks like my landing light switches are not working. Have the aircraft configured correctly. Nope. Doesn't do... Your lighting. It's probably a fuel pump or two missing, but I don't care anymore. Oh, look at that. I'm at complete idle, and if I waggle my pedals just a little bit, I can dance the rotorcraft around. Still in the Isles of Scilly. It's a fun little place to peter around in. Low level handling is squirrely. I don't really feel ground effect at all. And again, this is my biggest gripe, is the inconsistencies with the ported aircraft, because you've got some stuff like the 47, which is unique and handles, albeit a bit boorishly, but I think that's just due to how the Helo's designed, and then you've got stuff like this, which didn't handle that great in 2020 and handles about the same now, so... Definitely would not want a long haul in this. The real aircraft, sure. Real rotorcraft, I should say, sure. But, I don't know. Pivot turn's good. I feel like the tail rotor is overly responsive as well. I feel like I've got more tail rotor authority than I really probably should have. Watch this. Yeah, this is like Apache level lights. I wonder if I can do a, I don't know what it's called. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we're going to get low altitude, high speed. Pull into the vertical. This isn't what the Apache does. But I think your RPM is low, but it's saved. We're saved. Collective a little bit and we're good. Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's a little bit twitchy, I think is a good way to describe it. Definitely can be handled well. But it's not what I would expect out of a rotorcraft. And funny enough, I think this is a little bit too easy to hover. I know that's rich coming from me. But the fact that you can pull into a hover so easily in this rotorcraft is, I don't know, it seems off to me. I feel like a little bit of the leftover flight simulator on rails settings that they had from 2020 still sticks with this rotorcraft. So nonetheless, we're going to move on to the next one. Oh wait, I have to land still. Hold on. Forgot about that. I don't even know what a proper LZ is. I know we took off from that little box there. Okay, we'll go for the little box. 180-degree turn. So there's a little bit of ground effect. Just a little bit. I'm feeling it, and obviously you have the wash from the dirt and stuff, but yeah, so this makes you look like a way better pilot than you actually are. I can confirm I absolutely suck eggs through a straw in a normal rotorcraft, and this made me look competent. Would you like that? The opening of the window with the extra sound. That's nice. Anyway, let's move on. And welcome to Pico Airport and our next rotorcraft. I'll get it one of these days, guys, I promise. The Robinson R66. Turbine powered, unlike its smaller, siblings, cousins, whatever. The R22 and R44. Got a big old, well, not big. It's like actually like a smallish Allison 250. Or something similar back there. Ooh, 300. Ooh. Is there another number in there? Can't tell from here. Nonetheless, this is supposed to be going around, and oh, it's a Rolls-Royce 300, so similar to the Allison 250. Textures, with this being a 2024 rated aircraft, and I think Asobo actually bought this from someone else. So lots of little things to click on, lots of things to look at. Really nice detail on the engine there. I think, is this a storage cabinet down here? It is. You can see there's where the battery would be. Stuck under here. Head to the other side. Check the oil. Here. There you go. Not as visual as the G2. There's no fluid to check, but we do have a sight glass. And I sight engine oil. It's red. Engine oil in my motorcycle. And I think that's it for clickable areas. Main rotor head, we got that big old aerodynamic fairing with the, I believe that's the pitot tube there as well, so not a whole lot to look at, but it's pretty good. And the tail rotor as well. Looking nice. Still not G2 levels, a little bit flat on the forward face of that connecting, I don't know the actual name of this connecting piece for the two rotor blades. I guess, would you call that the main rotor? I don't. The blades are starting to spin. I think that means it's time to get inside. But overall, pretty good. Close my little ELT door as well. I didn't show you the ELT. There it is. Emergency locator transponder. If you crash, that's the thing that makes that noise. So. Cockpit, again, up to scratch. It suffers from the same auto setting issue. So maybe it's just something that affects rotorcraft. I'm not sure. But this has it as well. In terms of sounds, let's take a listen. Not too bad. Let's test out the engine auto start sequence. I know it works because I've done it a bunch. Minus the external lighting. That you'll still have to do yourself. Over just over 6 hours on this airframe. Absolutely adore it. Engine's lit up. Wait for the rotors to start coming up. You can hear on the outside there while we're finishing the auto start, we'll let our co-pilot take off, or take controls. So we're sitting at a low idle right now, and this is the low idle sound. You can obviously hear the main rotor swooshing away, but you can also distinctly hear tail rotor, which is nice. If I hop back in the cockpit and I throttle the aircraft up, so I do have the auto governor on, so we're not going to overspeed the main rotor. But you definitely have a clear and distinct difference between the main and the tail rotors. Quick sound check from outside just because we had that one fluke with the Bell 47. Oh yeah, she sounds good. And I can already tell you, this is my favorite rotorcraft in the sim only because of how it handles. Obviously the op side of... Oh god. We were flying here. The op side of the R66 is not super interesting to me, but I just love how this aircraft handles. You can see all the little finite movements that I'm doing in both the cyclic and the anti-torque pedals. Collective, you can kind of let it sit. When you're doing low-level ops like this, you kind of need to modulate it a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Again, this is a turbine aircraft, rotorcraft. It's still a rotorcraft. 96th time is the charm. But you can, I mean, you can really put this down almost anywhere you want. Hovering is a bit of a challenge. With enough stick time, I think most folks could get it down pat. Hovering is only one aspect of a helicopter. Let's see how this does in acceleration and forward flight. Ready? 3. Oh, I touched the ground. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And I burned up the turbine a little bit there doing that. You should not do that. Flying virtually, or especially in the real world. Those little clicks you can hear is the automatic throttle adjusting. There is the option for a manual throttle, but it varies so much in these rotorcraft, and I'm not skilled enough quite to handle engine speed plus collective, so I let the sim take care of that for me. I love the blade slap. I love the handling of the R66. Like I said, it's my favorite aircraft. Let's try a right-handed 180. A little bit more challenging, like I discussed before, but the R66 can do it. Transitioning back to straight and level. That's my alarm telling me that I am not within the parameters the rotor's supposed to be. Let's accelerate down the runway here. We'll try that same Apache move I was talking about before. The R66 kind of can do it, but not really. Really heating up the turbine here. Good head of airspeed on us. Let's pull vertical. Piece of cake. Absolutely love this rotorcraft. Blade slap sounds amazing. One thing I'm not testing yet, which maybe I'll try in a later video, is auto rotation. Only reason I'm not doing that is, again, because I don't have that auto throttle enabled. To do a simulated auto rotation, you would, like in actual training, you would move the throttle to idle. I guess in the sim I could do a simulated actual engine failure and basically shut the engine down, and then your options are to land or crash. But that, my friends, is the Robinson R66. We're going to go back to the location where we took off from, set her down, and begrudgingly, because I do really, really, really love this rotorcraft, go on to the next one. Oh, hi, that fence is. That's fine, we cleared it now. The R66, folks, my favorite rotorcraft of the sim. So we'll make them all handle like this, please. Moving on. And welcome to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and we are flying the H125, formerly AS350, and it always will be in my heart. See one of these bad boys, and it's got the not squished exhaust on the bottom. That is a AS350. Unless it has the upgraded engine, in which case you can't really tell, as far as I know. If you know a way to tell an AS350 from an H125 indefinitely, please share it in the comments below. But this is a native to the sim aircraft, so we have all the little doors opening. We've got a less detailed battery, but we've got French and English. Lots of engine access ports as well for all of our engine viewing stuff. I think this one opens as well. It does. There you can see there's your sight glass for your jet oil. That's a inspection item. Plenty of oil for today's flight. You can also get a good look at the base of the main rotor head by, oh god, just doing stuff. Go away. Go away, settings. A little bit more detail there. I can actually hop up on this skid here. Get a little bit more of a detailed view. Main rotor, tail rotor as well, looking fairly good. Like the reflections, she's moving on us, but that's fine. Did go with a Brazilian color scheme today. Just based on our location, nav light on the rear there. No crazy detail on the engine exhaust. If I turn this rotorcraft around and you look down in there, you just see a flat plate. Nav light there. Storage and ventilated storage. I believe that is either an ELT. No, those are static pressure sensors, I believe. For your static system. Because you've got pitot on the front, static on the rear. Another look at that main rudder head. Love the detail in here. Very, very good looking. Actuating rear doors as well. I can open all these up. I wanted to set up a... You used to be able to open this door. Maybe I have to do it from the inside. Singular pitot tube up front there. I'll just miss that remove before flight tag. Landing light here, and then there's a downward facing taxi light. We'll take a look at that momentarily. But let's head inside. And I believe, like I was saying before, I think I can open this door from... Nope. I can do no such thing. I can twiddle the window, though. Huh? Look at that window twiddleage. I could have sworn maybe it's just the rescue version that you can open this door on. Oh, that's unsettling. There's no latch engagement. Amateur. put that wind deflector back. Let's quit a quick sweep around the cockpit. Again, everything is roughly up to scratch for 2024 standards. There's nothing inherently wrong that I've found. Love the sound of the inverters running. Let's get a quick control sweep. A muted soundscape, but one nonetheless. Surprise, surprise, the altimeter does the 0 thing. Let's go through an automated engine start. This aircraft's actually really, really easy to start. You would throw your engine start into the on position, guard that switch. Fuel lever is already in the on condition here. And then you would watch... Oh, helps if you turn on avionics, but you would then watch this guy here as your engine starts. But again, we're going to let the flight sim computer do all of that, so auto starting now. And again, it misses the anti-collision light. Seems as the lighting is not part of the auto start process in the sim. Does that for aircraft and rotorcraft alike. You can see we've got some N1 rotation. Torque still sitting at 0, engine temp at 330. And the display automatically kicks over to show the rotor RPM. And normally you would start with the throttle down here in the idle detent. The auto start moves it to the flight detent. That's probably not good to do for a rotorcraft, but it's okay. Then just waiting for our rotor head to come back here. There we go. So we should be good to fly now. Let's throw on our landing lights. Get a quick sound check outside. Main rotor sounding spot on. You can also really, really hear the tail rotor on this. This is probably the best example of a differential between the main and tail rotors. Real clear difference. Sound check from the outside. It's about the same. So let's go for a flight. A little bit of anti-torque in, and we'll come up nice and gentle on the collective this time. See the rotorcraft wanting to rise, more anti-torque, more anti-torque. There we go. You notice the three actually airspeed limitations there. We've got one just over 100, one just over 120, and then a V&E at about 150 knots. I think that's sustained airspeeds, like they don't want you to sit at the speeds for the ones with the barber poles. Or maybe they're altitude restrictions, I'm not entirely certain, but you can see we just blew through one of them. The aircraft, rotorcraft, still a rotorcraft, is handling as expected. I'm going to nose over just a little bit, see if we can get past that second barber pole. There we go. So again, we're still relatively straight and level. I do have to put a lot of forward cyclic in to maintain that speed. So we're actually going to come out of it now. Turn back towards the airport. And we'll get that 180-degree turn in, as well as an aggressive stop. I'll actually aggressively slow down to the point where we can do that 180-degree turn. And we'll see if we can do, what do I want to call that? It has a name, because like I said, the AH-64, I think the KA-28, and a few other military helicopters can do it pretty easily, but civilian helicopters, it's a big no-no. I don't know, we'll call it the Flying J, or a Vertical U-turn. Vertical U-turn. I love that. We'll go with that. The vertical U-turn. Ready? Here we go for the stop. Right as we cross the hangar. Struck the tail rudder. No big deal. It's fine. It's a simulator. Try that again. I was not prepared. Lost a lot of airspeed doing that. Well, screw it. Let's go into the vertical U-turn here, because we've got good airspeed for that. And then we'll go into our aggressive stop. I can't see the horizon. Go. Yeah, this works perfectly. And we'll come in for the aggressive stop back at where we parked. Airplane popping. Jetway. Pop in. Airplane popping. Nope, the jetways are just broke. Okay, cool. Love to see it. Alright, aggressive stop. And it's more so my inability to properly control the craft versus anything else. We're in VRS now. You can tell that by the shaking and of the rotorcraft and my voice. VRS or vortex ring state is I can't remember the proper definition, but it's effectively when you, the pilot, get into the rotorcraft's own downwash and it's really unstable, really dirty air. The rotorcraft can't generate the lift that it needs to maintain flight. Really dangerous stuff. Almost as dangerous as that landing. The FS2024. Moving on to the next rotorcraft. And welcome to Arnage Airport in Le Mans, France. One of the Circuit de la Sarthe. See, we've got the French Air Force Rondale. No Army Leia, but we have Airbus instead, and the FS2024 rotorcraft. I'm actually very unfamiliar with the ops. I love the mittens for handhold instead of hands, because you know you're going to be wearing mittens if you're opping this aircraft. Rotorcraft, it's still a rotorcraft. I'll get it right one day. Lots of detail on this. Again, this is a native FS2024 kit, so I would expect a lot of detail. A lot of panels to open. Got a radome up front. And you can actually see through to the cockpit there, which is kind of neat. Any of these doors or hatches open? Can I step up here? Step up, step up. No? Okay. Alright, not a lot of clickage there. But good detail on the main rotor head, even down to the different lines for the different rotors. So it looks like each rotor has its own stripe on the head as to where each rotor coincides. If you don't know, you have to, for both rotor tracking, bleed balance, all of that stuff, put the rotors back onto the same position that they were on the rotor head if you ever take them off. So I'm assuming that's what that is to aid. And it's even on the hydraulic dampers. So you put those back on as well. So all to keep blade balance in check. Interesting. English here, no French there. This is another Airbus product, so I would expect a little bit of bilingual action. Or even maybe just French, because the United States Air Force doesn't operate these. A little bit of baggage in the back. Like seeing that. That's cool. It's even got a step to go up, but I can't. I'm too tall. Cool nonetheless. Close that back up. Tail rudder. Again, you can see those markings. Good detail. Looks like a variable tail plane here. I can see it's hinged. I assume that rotates in flight, similar to like the UH-60 or the AH-64. I'm sure there's a few other rotorcraft that I'm forgetting about that have that adjustable tail plane. God, lots of fuel. Lots of fuel. You got a big fuel tank here, big fuel tank here. I'm assuming there's some onboard fuel as well. This is a twin engine, at least twin engine. I think this is an AP exhaust back here. That's fairly big. I wonder if this is a tri-engine, like the CH-53E model Super Stallion, or the normal C Stallion. Anyway, into the cockpit. Let's take a look at our textures there. All's looking well. Love the little fingerprints. I like aircraft. It looks slightly worn in. We've got a few different, a lot of these aircraft, rotorcraft, still rotorcraft, have a few different options for configuration. This is obviously the passenger configuration. This has a heavy lift configuration, a cargo configuration. I think that's it. Emergency procedures plaque, both sides. You can also see there's a fasten seatbelt sign. Smoking overhead panel. You can see that blue fluorescent tube. Right, let's go through the automated engine start. Oh wait, sound check. Sound check. It's alarmingly devoid of sounds. Switches? Nothing. Okay. That's unfortunate. Do I get the faux? Nope. Good. That should be that way. You'll see what I was talking about in a moment here. I do have little pop-down landing lights here and here. So let's go through the automated engine start. Let's go through the automated engine start. Let's go through the automated engine start. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, so several months into the release and the automated engine start still doesn't work. I have dark panels. There we go. They just need a second to load in. I believe so here's my altimeter setting 1013 hectopascals. I believe the altimeter problem exists on this as well. Yep. It does. That stinks. Let me show you guys the landing lights I was talking about. You can see they're popped down there, left and right hand sides. Is the rest of the aircraft lit up? No. Sort of. Alright, I think we're good for a rolling takeoff here. Let's turn off the park brake if it was on. And since we have wheels, we'll do a standing takeoff first. Brakes on. Simulate being in a tight situation. And this is all largely FADEC aided, so a lot of easy peasy stuff. Let's go for a rolling takeoff next. Doesn't really like to roll too much, that's okay. But everything is pretty docile in this rotorcraft. It's pretty easy to fly. Obviously we've got a lot of power. You know, those engines. No heat blur though. No heat blur at all. I can see straight into the engines there. I was going to use the heat blur to determine if I've got 3 engines or not. So I guess I'll have to go to my it looks like there's only 2. N1 and N2, both feeding. Anyway, let's get moving here. Let's go gear up. See, we get a quick caution light and a landing gear warning. Gear's now up, and we can go over to the poorly modeled start line of the Circuit de la Sarthe. Just after 3 p.m., though we're not in June, so the 24 Heures du Mans is not started yet, but there you can see the start line. Or I believe, is this the Mulsanne corner? No, that's down there because the Mulsanne straight goes that way. Michelin curves, that's what these are. Pardon my bad handling here. Not going to do the whole track today. It's like 8.4 something miles, 8 point something miles. Here's the Mulsanne corner. Into a... Okay, well, we're not here to review textures today. We're here to review rotorcraft, and I'm not doing that great. Down the Mulsanne straight. believe that might have been the first chicane there. Back in the day, they used to just be a full straight. There were no chicanes to break it up, and cars would easily exceed 200. Nope, here's the first chicane. Trees. We'll turn back around at the second chicane. You can just see it there. What a great place for a 180-degree turn. The second chicane. Really had to put in a lot of anti-torque there to get the rotorcraft spun around and swung super wide doing that. We'll head straight back towards Arnage Airport and towards Arnage, the corner. Back at the airport, we'll do our aggressive stop, check the flying U-turn rather, vertical U-turn, that's what I called it. $120, 100, 80, 60, 40. Not terrible, not great. Covered a lot of horizontal distance and gained a little bit of vertical as well. Into the flying U-turn. Vertical U-turn, I'll get the name right as soon as I get rotorcraft versus aircraft right. Up we go. That sucks. That sucked. Do not approve. One thing that is nice is this has a lot of power, a lot of collective in reserve, so if you do flub something up, you can cover it pretty easy at lower altitudes. Get up in the higher altitudes, and I'm sure that goes away. Just downwash all of these light aircraft here. Blow them off of their ties. I don't remember where we took off from, so we're going to land in whatever that ugly looking... Oh, we took off from the runway because this rotorcraft didn't want to do a auto start. That's what it was. Valiant effort by the devs. I'm sure Silva just screwed them over. Moving on to our last inbuilt rotorcraft. And welcome to Creech Air Force Base in Nevada and the Mill Blackbird Simulations CH-47 Chinook. This is going to be the... Welcome to the... No, this is going to be the last rotorcraft native to the sim, but stay tuned, we do have a few non-native ports, some made specifically... No, I take that back. Some are FS2020 specific port-in aircraft, and then some were remade for FS2024 from FS2020. Again, with this being a direct to FS2020 aircraft, rotorcraft, I'm not going to get it. I'm sorry. It is good. It's got a little bit of an issue with the pitot tubes there. Obviously, you can't see into them, so a lot of your ram air is going to not make it into there, but other than that, detail is good. Good detail. I love the hydraulic lines and all that stuff. You can see inside of here all of the different avionics cables. Not sure, other than that door, which obviously, as we now know, takes us inside. I'm not sure how much other clickability there is outside, but that gives us a chance to explore together. These should be through holes, but they're not. And look at textures up close and personal. This is the steering wheel on the CH-47, so I'd expect to see a hydraulic line other than the brake, and I don't. That's a bummer. Yeah, it's just a carbon copy. Oh, I can lower the rear deck without hydraulic power being on. That's cool. Like the tinting on what I'm assuming are titanium, just based on the color, exhaust twin turbo shaft motors. Go ahead and close that back up because it's going to give me a hard time taking off otherwise. No crazy detail on the main rotor heads. The real CH... I know I've seen a real CH47. I was going off of memory of an MH47, which is, I'm assuming from a rotor head standpoint, identical. I could be mistaken. So outside of the wheels, I think, outside of the wheels and the pitot tube, I think this definitely cuts the mustard. I like the attempt at weathering here. It's too low poly for my liking. I would rather just have just a clean paint line like here. Yeah, if you're going to weather something, make it look good. Anyway, let's hop inside. Take a quick spin. We got steam gauges. Those of you who watch any of my DCS stuff in the CH47, I believe it's the Echo model. I get it confused because I have the mod plus the module. One of them has steam gauges like this. The other one has a glass panel. So, not an entirely familiar sight, but definitely usable nonetheless. And we already kind of looked at the rear, but there's not a whole lot to see. It's a lot of some repeated stuff. Anyway, back into the cockpit. Do you know what we're going to do? Automated engine start. My soundscape, it sounds pretty good. Take my word for it, it sounds pretty good. That's just the APU spinning up right now, so. Switches and all that stuff sound good. We have the same altimeter issue as all of the other rotorcraft, so there's nothing I can do about that. You can see we're at a low idle right now. And now we take off into the high idle. And you can see with my anti-torque pedals, both rear wheels steer. I can't speak specifically for this model of the CH47, but again, if you look at the one in DCS, it's the right-hand wheel actually steers, and then the left-hand wheel just recasters and follows it, unless you lock the wheels in place. That's done through this little knob down here, which is currently set in the steer position. It looks like I can set that, and then can I individually tiller? I cannot. Unfortunate. So does this do anything? You have the option to spin it. So if I spin that all the way to the left, yeah, so I do get wheel steer. It's just not tied to my tiller. That's unfortunate. Oh well, we'll make do. Let's stand up here, get turned around. I think we're still, oh no, we're just barely off the ground. Doing the Chinook's signature cliffside landing maneuver here. Oodles and oodles of availability for torque in this rotorcraft. Obviously, it's designed for heavy lift and cargo transport. So even at the higher elevations here in Nevada, we will have no problem with any incidentals. I'm not terribly great at hovering this rotorcraft, although I imagine in the hands of a skilled pilot, you could do some pretty gnarly maneuvers on hillsides and that sort of thing. Let's get transitioned as best as I can into a hover here. I'm going to try to keep the rear wheels off of the ground if I can. A little bit of a twitch from the collective there. So, hovering a mixed bag. Looks like none of our external lights are on either. Let's go ahead and get into forward flight. Keep an eye on the torque gauge there. You can see I didn't even get near our red line, even though I did push pretty aggressively on the collective there. The aircraft just leapt into the air. Our ASI goes, airspeed indicator, rather, goes all the way up to 250 knots, but it does look like there's a hard red line just above 150 there, so we'll stay under that for today. 150 is more than fast enough for a helo. We're going to get straight into the vertical U-turn in this rotorcraft. That's the first time I've done them both consecutively and not messed them up. Here we go. Uh-oh. I'm going over top. I'm going over top. So that's a bust for the vertical U-turn. One thing the Chinook can do, though, is pull up and pull up hard. So let's do that, increasing our airspeed right up to that red line. And let's dump it all. (3,000 foot per minute ascent rate. Still ascending, still ascending. Collective is at idle. Still ascending, 1,000 feet per minute. We had a lot of speed on, my god. Alright, a little bit less speed. Let's get slowed down. Oh, massive bird strike. Shoot for about 500 feet per minute this time. Rotor's speeding up. Definitely not a docile dancing angel, but if you need anything to get you lifted and out of there fast, it's going to be the Chinook. Let's demonstrate that really quick, and then we'll move on to our first wave of third-party helos, as in stuff not baked into the sim, stuff you can't buy by buying a higher tier, if you will. Right, so we'll get nestled back into a hover. Right, somewhat in a hover, climbing just a little bit. We're going to push the collective right up to that red line for torque and nose the aircraft over for a maximum climb. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. 2,500 feet per minute down to 2,000 now as we increase forward speed. I mean, that's going to get you out of almost every bad situation. Soundscape sounds great, inside and out. Very true to life as to what a real CH-47 would sound like. Maybe just a little bit lacking in the chop of those 6 blades beating the air into submission. Let's go for attack landing here, and then we will call it for the old Chinook. Try and set down right behind this tree line here. Well, bush line. The CH-47. Onto Mystery Rotorcraft, third party, number 1. And welcome to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. And you know we had to pick the same Cal Fire we started out with in the background, the MD-500. Now, this aircraft suffers from a couple of Flight Simulator 2024 related things that weren't a thing in 2020 because of how the weight and balance worked. What do I mean? So you can see that I'm missing every optional accessory. Those of you who are familiar with the Cowan Simulations aircraft know I can fit bear paws on the rear skids, I can fit a mirror, I can fit a water system or baggage system, doors, I think I said doors already, a Cinefex camera or a spotlight. all that's missing off of this rotorcraft, and that's all done in this tablet here. And it works great in Flight Sim for Flight Sim 2024 aircraft. It does not work for this guy. So if I go to my cargoes, these are all the different options. So I can put on a skid mirror, 2 pounds, enter. I can add a utility bench worker, which would throw on the utility bench. I can add the bear paws. I got baggage. I've got the utility bench. We did that one already. I can't click whatever this other mystery circle is in the middle. I've got the rear doors. I can put those back on. But I can't add my front doors. I can add the camera. I can't do the spotlight. I can't add front doors. So there's the aircraft partially outfitted. I would like to have front doors and a spotlight for this mission, but I just can't. I can try to scroll and zoom. It doesn't work. So that's one downside, and this is going to transfer over to all of the Cowan Simulations rotorcraft. They're a little bit more spread out on other ones, but on the MD500, alas, no. Graphics are about the same as what they were in 2020. Not great. But what's the flight model like? Let's find out. Okay, so that's going to be a no for the auto start here. We'll just take care of it for it. There we go. Didn't turn on any of our lighting. Waiting for 60% N2, and we'll throw in the generator. There's 60. Generator's on. I think I can manually add the spotlight if I hit my taxi light. I lied. Yep, I lied. What if I do this? Nope, it's grayed out because... There we go. So there, I can add the spotlight that way. I just can't do it in the menu I'm supposed to be able to. Whoa. And yeah, she's twitchy like an MD500. Especially coming off of the big old CH-47. But she flies pretty much identical to how it did in FS2020. Just to say, you need to be a pretty skilled pilot to successfully opt this helo. It is not forgiving. And if you mess up, you'll know. You will know. Let's see how skilled of a pilot I am. Let's get right into it. There's another Cal Fire MD500 down there. Hovering is definitely a challenge in this. Let's try out the vertical U-turn first and foremost. Good clip of speed under our rotors into the vertical. Oh yeah, MD500's got it all day long. Need a little more anti-torque the next time around, but she's got it all day long. All day long. Hard stoppage is good. Oh yeah, this thing flies like a dream. I just wish I was better at it. Let's go sit down over where we... oh, chop, chop, chop. Let's go sit down over where we took off from. And I will say one thing I love about these Cowan Sim rotorcraft in this versus FS2020 is that choppiness is gone. Completely gone. So, that's the MD500. Let's move on. We'll look at one, maybe two more Cowan Simulations rotorcraft. One more additional aircraft, and then we'll get you guys out of here. It's a long video, I know. I'm sorry. All right, finishing up our Cowan Simulations aircraft, rotorcraft. Told you I wouldn't get it right ever. We have the Bell 206 Jet Ranger, the classic predecessor to the 407 we were disappointed by before. We're at the Miami-Dade Training and Transitional Center in South Central Florida. Obviously with Miami-Dade paint scheme on our 206, ignoring the livery, which is a little bit low poly if I'm being honest. I think the aircraft, rotorcraft, the thing holds up. We got a better pitot tube model than we had on the CH-47. While the carbon fiber on the Cineflex camera doesn't look great, overall the textures are fine. Good modeling on the pneumatic lines. I'm assuming these are pneumatic lines for the floats. Pretty simple-ish rotor head. I think when you get real up close and personal, it looks not too bad. Obviously, there's going to be no openable options on here, but everything I think transferred over for the most part from the sim fairly well. One thing I do want to point out is in the little weight tablet here, I actually do have nicely spaced out boxes that I can individually click. So that's why I have this fully kitted out with everything: the spotlight, the camera, the floats, wire cutters, all of my doors. So let's hop inside of the 206, and again, this is a paid module from the previous sim. Decent sounding soundscape. Let's do a auto start here. I'm not really sure what we're doing with the starter. Battery hot, battery temp. So it looks like it's really not doing what it's supposed to. So let's go ahead and restart. We'll just start it up manually. Well, you're not going to believe this, but Flight Sim, it crashed. So we're now in Queenstown, Queensland, Queens something. Queensland? Queenstown. Okay, well, you know, we're here in New Zealand. I'm sorry that I can't remember the name. But anyway, nonetheless, that's not going to stop us from flying. Did have to do the hot start position, and I'm having an issue with my front doors, so bear with me here. We obviously changed up the livery as well. Ignore that. Oh no. Yeah, that's the Australian flag. Okay. Yeah, well, I tried. Anyway, let's get the Jet Ranger in the air here. Whoa. Ah, that's what it is. I'm finding some winds. And once you weather vane out either into the wind or by getting forward airspeed, it does mellow out a good clip. In terms of agility, we're not going to be able to do a whole lot of the wackadoo stuff successfully, but we're still going to try. We'll start out with the vertical U-turn. Do need to keep an eye on my rotor speed, because the 206 will flatline its rotor very, very easily, and it will not be recoverable. Here we go. Yep, like that. Just like that. Okay. And there goes my frame rate with it. Maybe this part of NZ was not a good idea to demo stuff in. Yeah, it's definitely not stopping on a dime. Not U-turning on a dime either. Do you want to mention while we're wrapping up here in the 206, I don't really have much more to add. The reason I skipped the Sikorsky Sky Crane, that helicopter is a letdown to me. Look, cows, more cows. I was really excited for that rotorcraft, and the ground handling for sling loading sucks, and the ability to perform aerial firefighting is non-existent, which also sucks. So we're skipping the Sikorsky Sky Crane for this episode. It's still not ready to come on, Jet Ranger. It's still not ready to freaking out. They're freaking out. God, you get a little bit too close to them and they freak out. Now they're laying down. it's still not ready to be reviewed, plain and simple. Let's set the jet ranger down or try to set it down on that pad we took off from. We'll move into what I believe is going to be our final rotorcraft today. I do want to point out the Cowan Sim Bell 222, I believe. I have that as well. It's somewhere in between, in my opinion, it's somewhere in between the MD500 and this 206. It's definitely a lot more controllable than the 206. And I mean, the 206 isn't necessarily known for being a good handling rotorcraft, so I've never flown one in real life, so I can't attest to how well it represents the true-to-life model, but I can say that my virtual flight seat, I'm not a huge fan. Anyway, let's go get the final rotorcraft. So we've reached our final review rotorcraft of the day, and it was going to be the Militech Simulations MV22, like I mentioned earlier. Oh, hello frame rate. Can you come back? Thanks. But that kept crashing the sim, and I'm not necessarily blaming that tilt rotor because I don't think it's flushed for FS2024. So instead, we're going to look at the previously mentioned Bell 222 Bravo. I have a singular passenger in the back. She's in for a wild ride. Oh no, there's no. Okay, you got a buddy, so you can both suffer together. Again, it's not, you know, 2024 ready as far as textures. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this here. We'll do a quick run around. It's you know, it's rough around the edges for sure. But I can forgive all of that if we have good handling. So very little noise in the interior. Let's see if the auto start didn't work on the MD500 or the 206. I don't think it's going to work on this either. Okay, I can hear motoring. It looks like it didn't even turn on the... So I got inverter 1, inverter 2. Both off. Battery's off, so that's going to be a problem. Fuel valves open, fuel prime's on. So I do have start and engines 1 and 2 simultaneously. Okay, that's fine. Probably did not start correctly here. I'm just going to fast forward you guys until the point that we're set to go. All right, we are started in the 222. You'll notice we've got working heat blur. So, but what are you doing with that H225? We've also got good quality lighting. I almost think that Flight Sim should just revert back to whatever the lighting engine was in 2020. It wasn't like blow your mind fantastic. I had a lot of new light mods on a lot of my rotorcraft, but it's better than what we got. And leave it that way until you fix it. Oh, we're at Dunsfold Aerodrome. I forgot to mention that. Home of the, well, I guess formerly famous Top Gear test track. I don't know who's watching Top Gear nowadays. Gear coming up, and I get a oral warning. Okay. So we're going to wrap this all up in one go here. And we're going to do a lap of Dunsfold. Also, the avionics, the altimeter thing is still broken, so a little bit of a handful, but I'd say it's somewhat adequate. All right, let's just go. A little bit windy on the track. You can see I'm side slipping pretty hard. It's not going to stop us though. Will let us get in our sharp turns and our abrupt stops all in one go here at Dunsfold. You can hear that main rotor putting up protest as we thrash this bird around. Definitely going wide. There. Hard right-hander. A little bit of blade chop. Good sound effect there. And through what I believe was the follow-through. Is it this first turn here? God, it comes up so fast when you're in a aircraft. Gambon. Gone wide and across the line. Well, it ain't no Suzuki Liana or a Kia Ceed, but I'll take it. The Bell 206. 222, rather. We tested the 206 already. And that's going to do it for this lengthy helicopter shootout. What do we take away from this video? Flight sim still needs to be finished. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this. I'm going to go edit some other stuff that you guys haven't seen yet, but thank you very much for watching this video. I do dearly appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, take it easy. Oh, I tried to time that with my landing, but it didn't work. Anyway, oh, there we go. Take it easy. Do you guys want to see a flip? Hold on. I don't know if this thing's got the cojones, but want to see a flip? There you go. There you go. Alright, take it easy.